If you think you're going to lose 30 pounds by trying harder, please stop because fat loss isn't a motivation problem, it's a systems issue. Most guys run a system that guarantees failure. They try to burn fat with their workouts, they do endless hours of cardio, they try to do highly restricted diets, and they may lose some weight, but they rebound hard. So in this video, I'm going to share with you the exact system to lose 30 pounds in 90 days without following a diet, but more on that later. And by the end of this video, you'll know exactly what to eat and when to eat in terms of burning fat, how to train to build muscle while getting lean, how to automate steps so you're not relying on discipline, and what you should be tracking so you can self-correct, and the identity shift that makes it all stick. Now, quick reality check. 30 pounds in 90 days is aggressive but realistic. We did it for John, who dropped 33 pounds in 90 days while eliminating half of his visceral fat. We did it for Mike, who lost 31 pounds in 90 days while making his belly fat disappear. But I'll also say that some people will be closer to around 15 to 25 pounds, but they will still look unrecognizable to their friends and family in the good way. Either way, the system is the part that actually matters. It's the repeatable machine. Now, you have to know the rules. Business owners are used to leverage, but when it comes to their bodies, they do the complete opposite. They go manual. They end up white knuckling calories, they do random workouts, they skip meals, then overeat at night, then they start over every single week. It's like trying to scale a company by just working harder instead of building a process. And the body works the same way. So tattoo these rules into your soul. Number one is going to be using the diet to burn fat, using your workouts to build muscle, using your environment to automate activity, and KPIs to keep you honest, and identity to make it all automatic. That is the system. So what you're looking at right here is called the high performance flywheel. It starts with the identity upgrade. You go on to fuel architecture. You go into 2S training, step automation, then KPI tracking. We do it all over again. So let's go into step one, which is fuel architecture. So most guys hear diet and think, okay, no carbs, no joy, no restaurants, no life. And that's not what we're doing. We want to set the right fuel architecture that serves both your health goals and your personality. This means you're not just changing food, you're designing a structure your body can run on. Now, the first step of fuel architecture is going to be the two numbers you're going to be focusing on, which are going to be calories and protein. First, you want to set the right amount of calories that's going to help you get into a deficit. It's also going to help you lose weight in a rapid way while also maintaining muscle. If you go too crazy with the deficit, you run the chance of losing muscle, which is not what you want. But if you find the right deficit that matches your body fat levels, you'll be able to burn fat while giving yourself a chance at building muscle. I find that people above 25% body fat can get a little bit more generous with their deficit at around 700 calories, while people who are below 25% would do a little bit better with a moderate deficit of around 500 calories. Next, protein is a non-negotiable. The target we're aiming for is 0.7 grams to 1 gram per pound of lean body mass. And if you want to lose fat and not ruin your metabolism, protein has to be the anchor. And also, protein is the most thermogenic of all the macronutrients, meaning that when you eat it, you're able to burn a few more calories as well. And when you get both of these numbers, you will not only be losing weight, you'll be giving yourself a fighting chance of keeping and building muscle. The second step of setting the right fuel architecture is creating a simple meal structure. Here's the default day, which is going to be 3 meals a day. So meal 1 is going to be high protein, high fiber, moderate carb. Meal 2 is going to be high protein, moderate fat, moderate carb. And meal 3 is going to be high protein, moderate fat, and maybe slightly higher carb for you to go to sleep a little bit better. And if you need to plug in your protein numbers, then you can drink a protein shake or a non-fat Greek yogurt as a snack. And by the way, a huge cheat code is to automate your meals using a local meal prep service. If you're already getting food off of Uber Eats and DoorDash, this is going to make things so much easier. Most business owners fail because every meal is a decision, and what we're doing is we're removing decisions. Now, the final step is to find the right meal schedule. This is the cheat code most people miss because this is how you automate hunger while losing weight. Ideally, you want this to be aligned with your lifestyle and also your circadian rhythm. And with clients, we use something called the chrono eating framework. So the first step to finding your meal schedule is to stop eating at least 3 to 5 hours before bed. That's going to be your final meal, not because it's magic, but because it fixes two things that wreck fat loss, which is late night eating, and it's going to cause bad sleep, higher hunger, and worse cravings the next day. 2 is to have your first meal 1 to 2 hours upon waking, making this high protein, 30 to 60 grams of protein, and high fiber as well, which is 8 to 15 grams. And last, you put the meal in the middle, and voila, you have a meal schedule that puts your hunger on autopilot. Now, here's the key: no snacking, because most snacking is boredom or dehydration in disguise. You want to avoid any unnecessary calories by regulating your hunger, and that means no snacking and eating on the schedule. And if you do nothing else but hit your protein, hit your calories, eat a little bit earlier, stop eating before bed, your appetite calms down like someone turned down the volume knob. Now, this leads me to the last step, which is the no diet rule that makes this all sustainable. You can eat any foods you like, but you need a boundary. And use this rule: it's 90% foods that are whole, single ingredient, nutrient dense. These are going to make fat loss so much easier. And 10% light foods that actually make the plan livable. Whole foods are not punishment, they are leverage, and they're also going to help you burn a little bit more fat. In fact, while I was cutting down to my leanest weight ever that you can see in this picture over here, I regularly ate foods that most people would skip. I'm talking ice cream, chocolate bars, pizza, dried mangoes, and gelato. And I know gelato isn't ice cream, but I just really like ice cream.
That cream, pure vanilla, sweeteners.
The fact is, your diet does not have to be perfect for you to get results and for you to get in the best shape possible. In fact, you need to have your favorite foods integrated into your life, because the root word of diet is dieta, which means way of life. Now, the next step in the flywheel is the 2S strength training method. And here's where most people accidentally sabotage themselves. And I know this because I have been guilty of these before. They will turn their workouts into calorie burn sessions. They'll do the random hit classes, they'll chase soreness, they'll do circuit training in hopes that it can boost their fat burning potential, while it just leaves them lying in a pool of their own sweat. They will train like they hate themselves. And that's great if your goal is to feel busy, but it's terrible if your goal is to build muscle and look good. Your workouts are for muscle. Muscle is what makes you look lean at 30 pounds down, not just smaller. So we run a simple progression system I call the 2S method. So 2S method equals strength and stimulus, minimal time and maximal return. 2 sets per exercise, full body workouts each session, 3 minutes per rest, hitting each major muscle group at least 2 times per week, and you want to pick big, repeatable lifts. And every week, you do one of 2 things. You either add more reps or add more load. That is it. If you're not getting stronger or adding reps over time, the program is not working. And this actually is fun because it turns your training into a scoreboard. Now, when you do this, you want to take your reps as close to failure as possible. That means leaving at least 1 rep in reserve for most sets. And the reason we do this is because you're a business owner. You're not trying to win the Olympia. We want you operating at your full potential while avoiding the chiropractor and physiotherapist.
Now you're gonna feel a little pressure.
Okay.
And there it is.
So we leave a rep in reserve to protect your joints and stay away from injury. And in general, if your training makes you feel destroyed, that you can't walk, sleep, or work, it's not hardcore, it's actually bad programming. Now, the next step in this flywheel is automating steps using a walking pad. The most underrated fat loss tool, especially for busy business owners, is going to be your steps. And there are so many times I get clients being like, "Hey, Dan, I'm supposed to take care of my diet and I'm supposed to work out in the gym. And how am I supposed to get all these steps? How am I supposed to do this when I only have so many hours in a day?" And I tell them that the fix is simple. You just need to leverage your steps by getting an under the desk treadmill. And the target is going to be 7,000 to 10,000 steps per day as a baseline, because this is going to be high enough to matter and low enough to sustain. And the problem is no one hits steps consistently just by trying, so we automate it. Think of your walking pad as your fat loss assistant. In fact, you want to do this during tasks you're already doing, while you're doing emails, while you're doing calls, while you're doing meetings, while you're watching YouTube videos. Heck, you can even write while you walk. In fact, I was doing the same thing while I was writing the script, and I was using this app called Whisperflow that takes my words and converts it to text. Now, ideally, you want to get at least 2 15 to 20 minutes walks per day, done at a conversational pace. This means you can literally have a conversation while you're doing it. Actually, one of my clients, Richard, he's a successful author. He has to do 1 to 2 hours every day for the books that he writes. And while he does his research, he would actually step on the walking pad and use the Talk to Text app to take notes on the research he was doing. And something he reported back to me, which is what I hear a lot from a lot of clients who do this, is the fact that usually at the end of the day, he feels drained to the point where he doesn't have enough energy to play with his kids. But after doing this, he found that he actually had too much energy. Now, something you have to know about energy is that it is created, and it's usually done through movement and exercise. And this is such a cheat code. I wish more people utilized it, and yet you just have to make the one-time purchase on the treadmill, and it ends up serving you for years to come. And low intensity movement helps you burn more fat while keeping your energy levels up. And if you have more energy, that means you can actually avoid some of the snacking you do later. Now, the next step in the flywheel is to make sure you're tracking the right KPIs. And if you don't track, You're guessing, and guessing is expensive. But most people track too much and quit. So we track 2 KPIs, that's it. Daily scale weight, and we want to do the weekly averages, and we do waist measurements 1 time per week. Same spot, same time. And why do we do this? Weight can lie short term. We're talking about water, salt, stress, travel, sleep. And the waistline actually tells the truth about how much fat you're losing. And this simple KPI system helps you self-correct. So every 7 days, you're going to ask, is my weekly average down? It should be around 0.7 to 1% of your body weight. Is your waistline trending down over the next 2 weeks? If it's yes, keep going. If it's no, then we have to adjust one lever, not everything. Now, these are optional but recommended. The first one is getting a DEXA scan so you can find out how much lean mass you have and also how much visceral fat you have on your body. And number 2 is getting your blood work done. This lets you catch the silent shifts in glucose, lipids, liver, and kidney function early so you can adjust your lifestyle before small metabolic problems snowball into chronic disease. And as a side benefit, you're going to see some of the nutrient deficiencies your body has that you can easily shore up through diet or supplementation. Now, the final step in the flywheel is what I call the identity upgrade, and this is where the plan becomes permanent. Now, setting goals is fine, but goals don't change behavior. Identity does. Because when you're stressed, busy, traveling, tired, you don't rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your identity. So we need to install a new default identity through what I call identity shifting. So it starts with assessing what your current thoughts and beliefs are around the goals you've created and also what behaviors actually hold you back. And then we want to set the archetype of the person who accomplishes the goals that you have as a result of who they are. What are the regular thoughts that goes through this person's mind? What are his behaviors? How does he think about eating healthy? How does he think about working out? What does he believe to be true about himself when it comes to his health? So here's a simple identity exercise I want you to do. Think about your current thoughts and behaviors. What do you think about these things when it comes to getting healthy? Then afterwards, I want you to set up what is the archetype that we are creating? What is the identity that we're evolving to? And then we want to pick 3 non-negotiables that are going to be there even on your worst days. Some examples of these non-negotiables can be 3 workouts per week, even if they're 30 minutes, hitting your protein targets, 7K steps, non-negotiable, no food 3 hours before bed or daily weigh-ins. Then we just want to take massive action on them because every action we take becomes a vote for the person you're becoming. Now, there are more steps to this identity shifting protocol that I'll get into in a later video, but right now, these are the most important. And what we want to do is we want to make sure your identity is predictable because when your identity is predictable, your body becomes predictable. So if you want the best chance at dropping weight in the next 90 days, your job is not to be extreme. Your job is to be consistent. When most guys are trying to white knuckle it, usually by day 17, the excitement wears off, the motivation wanes, and they end up giving up on themselves. We don't want to rely on excitement. We want to rely on the machine. So if you want the exact system to lose 30 pounds without dieting, you got it right in your hands right now. And once you've lost the weight, you got to learn how to keep it off. So I show you exactly how to do that in this video over here. See you over there.